Time now for the Redbird Report podcast with the TV voice of the Cards, Danny Mac, and Cards World Series champion Brad Thompson on 101 ESPN.
The 101 Redbird Report podcast. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We are coming to you from Washington, where the Cardinals will kick off a weekend series. Miles Mikolas is on the mound tonight. It's the Nationals. It's the Cardinals. Brad, it's great to see you. And Soto could just go from one end of the stadium to the other.
I feel like some things are just meant to be,
It
Dan.
is.
This is one of those things. You got Juan Soto, who, look, they couldn't come up with a deal. We've all turned down $440 million before. Understand
Could you imagine that?
Oh, I couldn't imagine that. I'd be bubble boy after that.
See, that's the one thing that I've thought about with this whole thing, and it is fun. I mean, it's fun to talk about. It's fun if you're a Cardinal fan, a baseball fan, whatever. But, hey, by the way, he also turned down a $500 million. He could get hit tonight and could be over, and you don't have a $500 million that you could have signed up for.
Scary.
Yes, it's a risk.
It is.
So he's going to get traded. Do you think it happens this year, though?
Yeah, so I do still believe it happens. Now, again, to your point, it doesn't have to. They've got 2 more years of control of Soto after this year. And Mike Rizzo, their GM, talked about this. So he said, look, we tried to come up with a deal for him, and it was a historic deal at $440 million. And I believe it was that a 15-year deal, something like that? Which, 15-year deal, you say, that's crazy. He's 23.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old. I mean, this is a unicorn when you're talking about baseball. But you turn that down. If you're the organization, you better start thinking about how you can capitalize off of this player. If you know you're not going to be able to keep him in-house after these 2 years. But if I'm him, I don't settle. Like, I go out there and I find exactly what I want and the prospects that I want from an organization, something that I know can set me up for the future, and I take nothing less. And if I don't get that here by Tuesday, the trade deadline, then I hang on to the player and we have these conversations again in the offseason.
You know, I was thinking about it from a Cardinals perspective, and I was on BK's show and certainly with Randy and Michelle, and they brought it up, and I said, we've never really seen this before. Like, you could have the deal for Big Mac and Edmonds and Roland and Matt Holliday, but these were guys that were in the middle of their career, and so it was about getting them there and, you know, establishing their presence in St. Louis, learning about the organization, the city, all that stuff, and selling them on the fan base and vice versa. But we're talking about a guy that's 23, and when you start looking at his comps. And that's what I love, looking at like Baseball Reference, and you go to Fangraphs, and there was a neat thing on there the other day. He's 23 with the amount of games he's played, the at-bats he's played. You're talking about a top 5 or top 10 player ever through this point of his career at the plate. So really, we have never seen anything like this, and it's going to be a haul. And the Cardinals do, I would say, probably have the pieces to make this happen if they want to do it.
They do for sure. So let's talk about that, okay? Let's talk about how comfortable. Let's play Mo for a minute. This is fun, okay? Let's put on our best sweater and let's go after this, because it is a little chilly in this hotel room that we're doing this from here in Washington.
You say my room is cold?
It's a little chilly, yeah.
I like a chilly room.
No, it's great. It is great.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like the Sixth Sense. I'm going to see dead people soon. So when you are looking at that, you look at 7 top 100 prospects that the organization has currently, and certainly a lot of talent at the major league level. What makes you uncomfortable? Is there something for Juan Soto, 2 more years of it? And let's just imagine that it is only 2 more years. 3 runs at a title with him, because you have this year as well. But 2 more years, because if you turn down $440 million, there's a very good chance, Dan, that you're not going to be able to retain the player. Okay? So who are you uncomfortable?
I don't think I disagree.
Okay, let's get into that then.
So I think if you're the Cardinals, in the way that they do business, that if they get this guy, the idea is we are going to be uncomfortable giving up what we're going to have to give up, but we're also going to be uncomfortable giving him $550 million, $600 million. I think that they would not pull the trigger without knowing that they feel very good about retaining his services for the remainder of his career.
Then they're not going to trade for him.
You don't think so?
Is the way that I look at it. No, because I really don't see them being an organization, because history has told us they're not going to spend $500 million on a player.
History's also told us, I was thinking about this. Go back to the Gas House Gang, which bleeds into Stan, Okay, I know you're laughing at me right now.
I'm just trying to collective salary even adjusted. Nobody's making this money, but go ahead.
So when the Gas House gang was collecting their $25,000 of the group,
Now I see the comp. Okay, go on.
This is the take money out of the equation here.
Okay.
So the idea is they've always had somebody that you go to the ballpark to watch. So Gas House to Stan to Lou and Brock, and I should have mentioned Red earlier too. That goes into Ted Simmons and Hernandez, and that leads into Ozzie. Ozzie leads into Big Mac into Albert into the great players that we have now and that we've seen in Yachty. So my point is there's always been somebody there to go see at the ballpark. And now you still have Nolan Arenado. You still got Goldie. Goldie's the MVP of the National League, so I'm not taking anything away from them. But my point is, money out of the equation. Long term, there's been, and I see you just giggling.
You can't take money out of this equation.
I'm just saying,
That's the equation.
They say, you know what? We feel like, okay, by the end of this deal, it's going to be rate adjusted, and in 15 years, it's going to look like a steal.
Okay, no, it could. Like that is
How about
the
when
crazy
Albert
thing.
signed for 10 for 100?
I know.
And it was the best deal they ever made.
Oh, for sure
it was a steal.
For sure it was. And no, I think you make a good point. Now, 100 million, 500 million, same.
You were playing along.
Yeah, it's fine. No, you make a good point. I do think that the fact, though, that he does have the 2 years as opposed to the one makes it a little bit more palatable if he did, in fact, walk. Like, there is really something, and we've seen history of this, okay, of having a guy come to the organization, you mentioned all the guys, and they end up loving it. So Juan Soto has had some great moments in his career. He's won a World Series, and the fan base for the Nationals was very good then. Now it's just kind of like we stink. Nobody's showing up to the ballpark. It's a different vibe when you get there. Maybe that does something for him. Now I got to tell you, I don't think it's going to do anything for Scott Boras. The feelings that he has, like, I like it. It's like, okay, well, we like LA too, or the Mets or the Yankees when come free agency, and whether you believe that the agent should have as much of a say as maybe Boras has or not, he does. Like when it comes to the influence that he has on a player, because generally when Boras has a client, especially a client like this,
he's going to test the market.
The guy's going to test it, right?
Yeah.
Now, testing the market doesn't necessarily mean you're going somewhere else,
right?
But you'll utilize all of these other markets against your current one. We saw Matt Holliday tested the market. Now, Matt was only here for a half a year in 2009, and he already knew in his heart of hearts that he wanted to come back, but he was technically a free agent.
You're not playing along with me on my idea.
I want to play along, but I'm not saying that. My thought is you don't have to know that you're going to re-sign him after 2 years. I would love to be able to know.
Then I can't give up then Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, maybe Dylan Carlson, Tank Hentz. I mean, we're talking about a lot of good talent, man.
Yes.
I don't know if I could do that then.
And if you're Mike Rizzo, you don't take anything less than stuff like that.
Okay, so who's going to pitch then? Let's say you get Soto.
Great question. No, so here's my thought with that. First of all, you're finding fillers, okay? And I mean no disrespect to John Lester and Jay Happ last year, but when those trades went down on deadline day, there was a collective, what?
Well, yeah, for sure.
What?
And then you texted me and you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Why the face, Dan? And they worked. Like there are things like that. You would have stopgaps, and you need more than that. Let's be totally honest. They need more than stopgaps. They need more than patching this side of the boat and then taking water on the other side. It would be great to be able to actually upgrade. But thinking about this, let's go worst case scenario, which is never worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You trade for Soto, and you give up a lot of prospect currency when you do that. All these guys that you're talking about, probably, and then maybe some more. And firstborns, whatever
sure.
it ends up being. And you end up short on pitching still, and you miss the postseason.
Oof.
Be a little upset, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But you come into next year with Arenado, Goldie, and Soto with an offseason of an opportunity of going out there and signing some pitching or trading for some pitching, because look, this organization has done a really good job. There's a reason they're in a position to even make this trade.
Yeah.
Randy Flores and company have done a really good job of restocking the minor leagues with high-impact players. And then you saw, by the way, this shift back this year in the draft where 7 out of the top 10 picks that they made were college pitchers. So they're trying to get these pitchers closer to the big leagues and ready, backfilling again some of the things that have been lost over the last couple of years. I really think that you're in a position where even if you missed out on this year, you set yourself up for a lot of success next year if you made a deal like that. And this, I don't believe that they're going to trade for Soto. I don't. But I think that it's worth talking about all of these different ideas.
I've seen crazier things. I'm not sure. I
love that you're not sure. I love that.
People, people.
This is going to be a fun weekend.
It is. People keep asking me about it, and I just don't have a good feel one way or another. It's still on the table for me.
Which is nice to feel like that, to be totally honest, because over the last couple of years, there has been that feel around the Cardinals and around the trade deadline where it's like, yeah, they're not getting that guy. Like, oh, here's the big guy out on the market. Oh, good, they're not getting him. Like, that part's not going to happen. Right now, there is real traction around some of the bigger names. Now, Juan Soto's the biggest one. The Cardinals are being talked about a lot around Frankie Montas with the A's, who has another year of control. His name is still being thrown around with Luis Castillo. I like Tyler Mahle as well. I think that Mahle is a good piece that could end up helping you out. Do you have, real quick, just kind of a little offshoot, do you have a problem trading within the division for guys like that?
Not really. I know that it's not done now nearly as much as it used to. I think I would be... For instance, like if you wanted to go get Contreras with the Cubs and you got him for the stretch run, he didn't re-sign, you had to give up really good prospects to go get him, that one would sting.
I agree, because you think they have a plan here for the future.
Yeah. So that one would be a little bit tougher. But with trading with the Reds, no. Pirates, no.
I don't think either one of those have a 5-year plan.
No. David Bednar, sign me up.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, Luis Castillo, yes. I mean, these are good pitchers that would help this team right now.
Yes.
So I really don't. Do you?
No, I don't either. And to the point
Cubs,
that you
maybe.
had. Yeah, to the point that you had. I don't believe that the Reds are in a position where they're going to turn whatever you gave them into something that hurts you right away.
Right.
And I believe that Castillo could help you right away. But even outside that, right, whether you're looking at Pablo Lopez, who's a good arm, I think that Noah Syndergaard is interesting, even though...
Take a flyer on him.
For sure. And it's money. He signed a $21 million deal. If you end up eating all that's left on that contract, I don't think that you're going to have to give up much. By the way, and I'm not saying that the Cardinals are in on this guy, how about the Angels listening on Shohei right now?
I know.
It's
crazy, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, and he talked about it through his translator and said, look, I'm an Angel now. That's all I can worry about at this point. Shohei, they should deal Shohei Ohtani.
Should.
Absolutely should. That is an organization that has done such a bad job drafting, developing, having the right talent in. Yeah, they've spent money, and they've gone out there and given money to Rendon and Trout and, not even Shohei. They haven't paid him yet. Somebody will. He's got one more year left, by the way. If you do make a play for Shohei, one more year of team control after this year. They paid, they paid Albert and they paid Hamilton. It was, who was the lefty from Texas?
Yeah.
They paid all kinds of different guys. Head and Shoulders commercial, too, and I don't know why.
Great hair. I was thinking the same thing. He's got awesome hair.
Either way, they've paid all these guys, but none of it has come to fruition because they haven't had a bigger plan. And I think that tells you something about baseball when you can have the best player in the world. You could have two of the best players in the world. It doesn't mean you're a good team. You have two of the best players in the world in the NBA, you're probably a champion. It would be nice to have a big three, but if you have two of them, you got a chance. In baseball, you don't. You have to have a bigger plan than that. And Shohei Ohtani can bring in a lot for the Angels.
By the way, if you're the Nationals, and I was thinking about this, you've let go of Rendon, Bryce Harper, you signed the big boy, Strasburg, and
damn.
That one hurts. That one's been a tough one.
$35 million
to do nothing.
Year. Well, he had to start this year.
Yeah, got lit up.
Yeah,
then went back on the IL.
He had the thoracic outlet last year.
Who else am I? Well, Soto now.
Well, Scherzer and Trey Turner. They traded off both of those pieces last year.
Oof.
So, right. I mean, there have been a lot of things. So think about that as a fan. This is last year's trade deadline, okay, for the Nationals, who are going to go through it again and likely to lose their best player. Scherzer, Turner, Yan Gomes, John Lester, Brad Hand, Josh Harrison, Kyle Schwarber, and Daniel Hudson all got traded off last year.
Wow.
I mean,
that's a lot.
Enjoy. Have fun, Nats fans.
What do you think we're going to have for crowds this weekend?
Maybe there's the send-off for Soto.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, there might be the thought of that. Also, Albert Pujols coming back into town, who, by the way, has been very, very good.
He's raking again.
Yeah, he is. He's feeling the flow, too, just smiling all the time.
How about his last month? Over 1,000 OPS.
Yeah, he's doing it. And this isn't all against lefties,
Exactly.
right? I mean, he's been in there against tough righties, and that was never the idea with Albert is, hey, let's plug him in all the time.
Yeah.
He forced your hand. And your roster, in all fairness, being, I'd say lackluster for options that you have on your bench at times, has forced your hand as well. But Albert has taken advantage of it. And I still do believe, you and I have talked about this all year, there is something to the name on the back of the jersey also that does something different to you as a pitcher. When you see Albert Pujols on the mound, or when you're standing on the mound, you see him and you peer in, that looks different. You don't look at his numbers right now. You don't look at the splits that he has. You don't look at, like, my stuff should dominate him. There's still that thought of, that's Albert.
Exactly.
I can't make a mistake to this guy. What do you do, Dan, when you're standing over the water? Don't hit the water when you're golfing.
Yeah.
Not the lake, not the lake. You hit it in the lake. They put something in the back of your head.
All right, let's wrap it up with this. Okay, Yachty's coming back.
Yeah, he is.
Albert, I think the final 2 months, starting Tuesday, when you have the Cubs and then the Yankees coming to town.
Especially when you have Juan Soto on your team.
And Juan Soto, maybe. It's going to be a buzz at the ballpark. I think the final 2 months are going to be really cool starting on Tuesday.
They are, and you talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the fact that it is a sprint. I mean, you look at the schedule, and it's jam-packed.
Game number 100 tonight.
Yeah, you're just going, right? So, no, it should be a lot of fun. And the fun, again, isn't solely around Albert and Yachty and the send-offs there. Wainwright, we still don't have clarity on what that looks like. By the way, I'm very clear that Wainwright looked really good last time out.
Really good.
And, was able to dominate a really good Toronto Blue Jays team. But there are this celebration, the fact that you bring the kids out and you're going to get a chance to see Albert and Yachty for the last time, right? There's going to be that. But this team has much more in them, I think, with the right pieces. Like, we're going to find out Tuesday if, in fact, they have helped this ball club or not and put them in a position to succeed. But they still have championship aspirations. Do you think that Albert wants to go after 162 and just tip his cap to the fans?
No chance.
No, man.
He wants to win.
Of course he does. These guys want to go on a deep October run. So we're going to see what the front office is able to do here in the next couple of days to make that a possibility.
Hey, buddy, this is fun, and looking forward to tonight. Should be a great game.
It's going to be a great series. I'll go grab Soto. I'll bring him over.
Awesome. Did you get I did talk to our buddy Mark Walsh, who works in the clubhouse. He's the best. I said, man, you have to pack for a lot on this trip. He goes, oh, yeah. You just don't know what's going to happen. So you're packing them all up and ready to go.
I hope he uses all that stuff.
I do, too. It'd be fun. That's BT. I'm Danny Mack, and this is the Redbird Report on 101 ESPN.
You've been listening to the Redbird Report podcast with the TV voice of the Cards, Danny Mack, and Cards World Series champion Brad Thompson on 101 ESPN.